You're listening to the AmWritingFantasy podcast. In today's publishing landscape, you can reach fans all over the world. Query letters are a thing of the past. You don't even need a literary agent. There is nothing standing in the way of making a living from writing. Join two best-selling authors who have self-published more than 20 books between them. Now, on to the show with your hosts, Autumn Burt and Jesper Schmidt.
Hello, I am Jesper.
And I'm Autumn.
This is episode 136 of the AmWritingFantasy podcast. And you know, I always love these top 10 episodes, Autumn.
Oh, they are definitely some of the most fun ones we record. I have to admit that I rather enjoy them as well.
And today, we've created two competing lists, 5 entries each of the worst characters ever.
Yes, and I just confessed to you before we started recording that if it wasn't for a sheer chance of luck, I mean, I meant to go into where we keep our podcast list and check it sooner, but I kind of checked it this morning because of another reason and made me realize, like, oh, I have to come up with 5 characters. So I kind of queried my parents, my husband, but
you cheated.
Well, none of them were actually helpful, but they helped get my mind going, as well as the last-minute panic that always helps us procrastinators, I suppose. So,
I think a lot of listeners can probably relate to that.
Yeah. I feel my list is pretty solid. I even put it in order, so I'm ready.
Okay, yeah. Well, I come very, very prepared, so I have some really annoying characters for you today.
I can't wait to, I'm guessing, hear them, knowing what you come prepared with.
Yes, of course. I have some sound clips because it makes it a bit funnier to listen to as for the podcast listeners as well.
Yeah. One day, I swear I will come prepared enough to have emailed you some sound clips to play for me when I ask you. Maybe.
Well, that would be pretty cool.
That would be, I deserve a cookie if I do that.
Yeah. No, but I already feel better about it because last time we had a top 10 last month,
yes,
you came really prepared and and of course,
yeah?
I do like to win these lists. And last month you came so prepared that I was a bit nervous already from the start, whether I had a better list than you. But now that you're saying you only realized this morning, I feel much better already.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I'm so curious if we'll actually... I have one on my list that I think you'll have as well. He has a dishonorable mention for me.
Okay.
But we'll have to see. I'm curious to see if we end up with the same. And I tried to keep everything actually related to fantasy / superhero. I tried to actually keep it in genre, so...
Oh, I didn't do that. I just thought of the most annoying characters I could think of. So
I almost did. But I decided to go for that extra challenge of in genre.
Okay. Well, that is pretty cool, I'll admit that. But it also means that our lists are probably not overlapping.
That's kind of good. But thank you for admitting I did extra last minute homework. So
yeah, that's pretty cool. You earn a few points for that, but just a few.
Okay, well that's all right. I already started ahead. That's all that matters. So how are things over there for you?
Good. We had 30 degrees this weekend. Well,
Ooh,
that's Celsius, so that'll
warm,
be like 86, 90 Fahrenheit, something
that's
like
warm.
that. Yeah, so we spent the entire Saturday at the beach.
Oh,
so that was pretty
exciting.
Cool.
Very cool.
Because with the new apartment here, we live like 100 meters from the beach, so that's pretty lovely. But I also have to admit that we actually are starting to wish to move back into a house.
Oh, I bet. I'm sure the small apartment, as much as it's nice to be that close to the ocean, there's nothing... Living in a small cabin as I do, I would give anything for like my own office space and to be able to close a door and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm sure you're feeling the pinch right now.
Yeah, I am. There's just... I mean, the neighbor or the area here is really nice, but it's just not enough space in here in this apartment, so... But we had a building plot in mind as well, where we want to build a new house. But actually, some new challenges have surfaced because the city council started to make plans about putting a road right next to the place where we want to build a house.
So
that's not good.
No.
There is a town hall meeting this Thursday, so I'll attend that and try to learn a bit more. But if they do end up building the road where they are talking about building the road at the moment, there's no decision made yet, but that's what they're talking about. But if they do that, then, well, we need to find alternatives. And honestly, I don't know where that should be. So... Because at the end of the day, the challenge here is that we want to build a house close enough for the kids to be able to go to school, by themselves using the bicycle or something like that. And if you get too far away, that's no longer possible.
Right.
So that limits sort of our options. But it's just politicians being weird, because this particular route where they're talking about building the road was actually looked at like 3 years back. And it was discarded as a possible road back then, because it goes straight through a forest where there's also an endangered species of bats living.
Oh, well, that's not right.
And then all of a sudden the politicians sort of put it back on the table and say, well, let's build a road there. And then, of course, a lot of people started complaining, because there's also people living in that area already. And one thing is, of course, the endangered species, but the other thing is that it goes straight past a neighborhood where people live, right? So people started complaining, and then the mayor of this town, she was like wondering why is people complaining about this road? And I mean, nobody has ever said that it was a problem before, and so on and so on. It's like, well, maybe nobody's complaining because this was discarded 3 years ago, so nobody thought it would ever happen. But I don't know. This is just politicians being politicians, right?
They make no sense. They're an alien species.
That's why we never talk politics on this episode.
True.
On these episodes.
That's true. We don't want to go there.
No. But how about you? How are things going on your side of the Atlantic?
Oh, it's been good. It was fun. My husband came home for like a week and a couple of days, and he's back off to rafting guiding. And actually, he even raft guided when he was here at a place that was only 45 minutes south. So I got to see him a few days before he ran off again, all of a sudden. But we had some beautiful weather. It was like a perfect week where it was just in the 70s, cool enough nights that you actually need a blanket, and it was lovely. And then, as soon as he left, it like hit the high 80s with super high humidity. It felt like it felt like when I was in Mexico, and the times I've traveled to like Mexico and Acapulco and Costa Rica, where you wake up in the morning and the sea air has stilled, and so that humidity off the ocean is just sitting on top of you, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine what it's going to be like at 3 p.m. But by then the sea breeze kicks up and it's so much better. But those mornings where everything is still and damp, and you hold up a piece of paper and it kind of goes, phew. So it's just damp. I've always wanted to live on a sailboat, and I said I won't ever get another sailboat because I've had 2 in my life, and I once a third, but I said I wouldn't get one until I can live on it and like travel on it. And as much as I want to, there's days when you wake up that humid and you're like, oh, I don't know if I could do this 24/7.
And no Wi-Fi.
No, actually, we got that problem solved. After traveling for 4 years across the country, we have repeaters and cell phone towers.
But if you're sailing in the middle of the ocean.
Well, that's in the middle of the ocean. Most of the time you're around land, though. That's only like a 1-2 week window. So I'm not that worried about those times. We wouldn't do too many crossings.
Oh my God, I would never want to live on a boat. I'm way too luxury-minded to do that. I want my couch and my Netflix and all those things, and showers and...
You just have to download the Netflix before you go, and then you can just binge watch while the other person's at the tiller.
Yeah, but still, there's no showers, and there's
again
not too much room.
Showers. A good boat has showers.
Well, okay. If you have like a luxury boat, maybe, yeah.
Most of the sailboats I've been on, I wouldn't go for anything that can cross the Atlantic has got to have a shower, even if you're on deck. Let's put it that way. You want to have a head and a bathroom. So I think my adventure itch, honestly, is acting up a little bit. I've been good ever since my husband got back from whitewater rafting and lost like 20 pounds. We've been getting up even earlier. I mean, he's getting up at like 4:30 and I'm getting up about 5:15 in the morning. And every other day I either go for a run and the next day I usually do some yoga and some stretch exercises. And I'm feeling so much better, and suddenly I'm feeling so much better, and oh my gosh, I just want to go hiking again. I want to get on my motorcycle, which I don't have here because I don't have enough room for it, and I want a sailboat. So I think
you have cabin fever.
I have cabin fever.
It's all the editing, and you're just sitting around in cabin editing books all the time. You're going crazy.
Or drawing. I mean, I've gotten some wonderful, working on some wonderful book covers and fantasy maps. So that's lovely, and I love every day I wake up and think, oh, I'm so lucky I get to do this. But I have to admit, they just opened up the Inca Trail, and there's a new trail down in Peru I want to do. And I'm like, yeah, I need to get this out of my system sometime soon, or I'm going to just send you a note saying, ran off to Antarctica. I'll be back soon.
I'll see if they have a VPN down there, but otherwise, see you.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
A week on the internet with the Am Writing Fantasy podcast.
We have something quite exciting to mention. And I don't know, perhaps it's the summer heat getting to us, or the cabin fever, or something like that. Who knows? But
it's something.
Something is getting to us. And if you work out what it is, let us know, because we don't know ourselves. But
send me more.
Yeah. Well, we decided to offer everyone on our email list a massive discount to be used on either of our 2 flagship courses.
Yes.
So within the next 3 to 4 weeks or thereabouts, we are going to email out a voucher code giving probably, I think it's going to be $150 off any of our 2 courses.
Yeah.
But maybe you could just explain a bit about what are these 2 courses, Autumn?
Oh. You just don't.
I always like to drop stuff like that on you.
You're like, oh, you build the website, you talk about it. These are our 2 premium courses. So we have the Ultimate Fantasy Writer's Guide, which is our first one we put. Well, actually, What's in a Name was our first one we put out, but this is our first premium one we put out, and it is a 12-module complete course of not only how to develop an idea and write well, but then how to edit, market, build a platform, how to format, how to upload to Amazon, because oh my gosh, if you have not done that yet, there's times where it's not that hard, but the first time is like, what? There's a lot of what moments. What is this? I got to Google what they're talking about. So it covers all of that, and then how to keep growing your author platform. So that's a one-stop shop, everything you need to know about developing an author business and becoming a writer, which, I think that's a pretty good start for courses. But then we decided we want to do a world building course. And this is the one, if you've been following along in the podcast, that took us, 2.5 years.
2.5 years.
2.5 years. Yeah, it's massive, which I don't want to say that because I don't want people to be like afraid of taking the course. Going, oh my God, it's massive. It's actually wonderful and incredibly well organized, and you don't have to do every video. There's like these optional places and extra information, and it's just wonderful. I mean, it takes you from, again, you have to start with the kernel of a story. You can develop one as you do it, but it helps you develop a world build a story along with the world, so that the 2 are intertwined and inseparable and unique and just wonderful. And then it teaches you, all the components you need to build that world to fit the story, so that you don't get lost with world builder's disease or just lost in your own world for 6 years. We try to not make it
be too bad, actually.
I guess if it's a portal there and it's a world where you can, at least be an avatar that could kick butt, that would be a good option.
That sounds pretty good.
That would cure my itchy feet, actually. So if anyone has one
that
of those
too.
Sitting around, let me know. But otherwise, you can take the course and learn to build a world and develop your story and all the components, so that when you're done, you not only have an amazing world, you have a story that you are ready to write to go with it. And then the final modules actually go into how to weave the 2 together without info dumping, how to bring the story to life in different ways so that you can really engage the reader. And I think if you're a writer and you are world building and you just really want to bring out something amazing, I think it's a fantastic course. We've used it and test ran it ourselves for our World of Elysium, so we know it works and it's pretty darn good. So those are our 2 primary courses.
Yeah, and it'll teach you everything like creating cultures, creating history, creating
Guilds.
groups and cults and guilds and magic systems and maps and everything is in there. So it's yeah. So if any of that interests you, and you would like a massive discount, then we will include a link in the show notes from where you can just add in your email address, because then you're going to get on our email list, and then you're also going to get that email when we send out the voucher code, and you can simply use that one and get the course at a very low price. That's pretty cool.
I think that's fantastically cool. Yeah, we must be a little crazy this summer.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. But the thing is that these courses are self-paced as well, so you can dip in and out as you please, and you can, of course, do it from the safety of your own home.
COVID-proof.
And on to today's topic.
So we agreed that this top 10 list of the worst characters ever could be from either books that we've read, or it could also be from movies we've seen.
Absolutely.
And that probably also means that since we're not going with some of the past top 10 lists we've made, we created something completely made up. But in this case, we're actually using characters that exist either in written works or in movies. So that means that maybe some listeners will disagree with us here, Autumn.
I think they might. It was funny because I did Google some other lists, and there was a few characters I was like, I like that character. How can you say that? So I expect some disagreement. I expect someone to say, no, there are worst characters. But these are the ones that are not so near and dear to my heart, I suppose. I chose ones that were worse for a variety of reasons, maybe a little illustrative of some points. And so I went kind of along those lines. So they're worst for not just their actions or just poor acting. I avoided poor acting just to give people a break. Yeah. And I have to admit, I didn't choose any book ones just because if the character was that bad, I most likely didn't finish the book unless they were just like a tertiary character in the background, and I promptly just erased them from my mind.
Right. And as we normally do with these top 10 lists, we are trying to come up with the best-worst list. In the end, we'll also have to work out who actually won, Autumn.
All right, we'll have to see which one we came up with. But remember, I got some bonus points for sticking to genre, so I'm already ahead as we get started off the gate.
Yeah, I said a small bonus point, but I can hear you already made it like into bonus points.
I did.
So I can hear that.
Faye, this is what happens when you give a Faye anything.
Yeah, that is actually true. But honestly, I think even though I tried to prepare well for this episode, I also have to say that it was actually quite hard because I wanted to try to find characters that were so bad that they basically made me want to stop watching the movie or the series. So when it's that bad, you know that you got the worst of the worst. But on the other hand, it's also pretty difficult to find the ones that are truly that bad.
Yes, I agree. I've watched some really bad movies, as we've mentioned in previous podcasts on Worst Lists, where I binge watched all of Mystery Science Theater 2000. You're like, why did you rot your brain with those? But they were fantastically horrible. But to find characters, and especially to try to remember these characters that I absolutely spark some kind of level of hate where I didn't just forget them. It actually wasn't that easy, but
no, I don't think.
I think there's a few worse characters I could have probably chosen if I thought longer or had more time, but I feel very satisfied with my list. It's a good illustrative example list.
Okay, well, I still feel like because you're not as prepared as me, I have to win this one. Otherwise, I'll feel disappointed.
All
but
right.
but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
So who's starting out here with number 5?
I think you started last time, to be honest, which is unusual for Faye, but I'm trying to be nice to you. So I guess it is my turn to go first, if you would like.
Okay, then come with your number 5.
All right, I'll have at it. So my least of the worst is actually Sabrina Spellman from The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which is a Netflix remake from the books of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Is that new one, is it?
It's the new one.
I heard some very bad things about that series, but yeah.
God. I chose her, but honestly, the entire cast, again, not for the acting, but for the roles and the plots, and just, they were just so pathetic, except for 2 characters. There were 2 I actually liked, which is Ambrose Spellman and Prudence. And there's a part in the second series, which I began watching, and then it was just so bad, I turned it off saying, I never want to see this again. But there was a point where they were tag teaming off to go and hunt down this former head teacher, evil dude. And I'm like, darn, I could watch a spin-off of the 2 of them as hunters. They were fantastic, but the rest of the cast, I was just rooting for more deaths. I think more of them needed to die so badly. I can't even get into what was horrible. It was so tropish. They're just teenagers, maybe? I don't know, but I really abhorred them.
So it was just like annoying in the way that you couldn't put your finger on.
Yeah, just bad. The characters themselves weren't very deep. The spells were pathetic. The foresight was horrible. They made stupid mistakes just to keep the plot running. Things were inconsistent about them from one episode to the next.
Okay.
And it was just, so again, a lot of it was bad writing, but just, there was no substance. And there was nothing in the character I really wanted to root for. I didn't care if the devil sucked her down to hell. It would have been fun. It would have been more interesting. Maybe she would have learned a lesson. I was so pathetic. There was a boyfriend that bounced back and forth in a really stupid love triangle that I just wanted to pound my head against the wall. She cured her best friend's blindness after not being able to cure it, after curing it, not curing it. I was just... I couldn't
what a
take
mess.
It was a mess. It was a mess.
It almost sounds a bit like it. It almost sounds like a bit like it's the series that is bad, and I mean the character as well. But it sounds like the series as a whole is just as bad as the character.
Let's just say when the second part of the series starts out that they're trying to go to hell to rescue Sabrina's boyfriend, and not only is it super easy to get into hell after a whole first season where they could never find the way there, and demons were trying to rise up to Earth, and it ends up like a doorway they could go. But it ended up mimicking the Wizard of Oz and all the way down to the Tin Man and the Lion, and that's where I said, no, just done. If this is your lack of imagination, just no. And if anyone out there likes it, just tell me why, because I don't get it. It was horrible writing. Jesus. But yeah, the characters too. The characters were just, they lacked any depth, and I just couldn't do it.
Okay, well, I have not watched that series, but now I know I'm not gonna watch it either.
Double dog dare you.
Yeah, no thank you.
Good answer. I did that to my husband once, and he still blames me for getting sick off of a piece of chocolate. I told him he didn't have to take the double dog dare. Jeez. Okay, so I have a number 5 as well. Yeah. All right, let's hear it.
I'm going to start out strong here.
All right.
Because this character is the most irritating and obnoxious character that I've ever come across.
Oh, this is going to be good. Bad. Good. Bad.
Yeah. She was actually the first one I thought of for my list here today.
Excellent.
Because she truly made me want to stop watching.
Wow.
And you've probably watched Friends, Autumn, have you?
I have. It's been years. I am not a Friends worshiper, unfortunately.
But if you can remember, what is the worst character in the cast of Friends that you can think of?
Maybe Phoebe?
Okay,
I don't know.
so
It's been so long.
listen to this sound clip and then just
Okay.
tell me that this is not annoying.
You love me, Chandler Bing.
Oh, no, I don't.
You seek me out. Something deep in your soul calls out to me like a foghorn. Janice, Janice. You want me. You need me. You can't live without me. And you know it. You just don't know you know it.
No.
That is Janice Lippmann from from Friends, and my God, that character is just so incredibly annoying. It's amazing.
I can honestly say I do not remember watching an episode with her in it, so obviously I did not watch all the episodes. But yeah, that's pretty. That actually reminds me of a show that, again, I probably could have used that character, but I can't even remember the name of the show. It has been so whitelisted from my brain to spare my sanity.
Right.
Oh. So
but
what else does she do?
Well, she's just so incredibly annoying, and it's like both the way she speaks, and she's so stupid as well, and she's so obnoxious and don't understand that other people don't sort of like what she does, and her laugh is so annoying that it's incredible, and it's just made like that on purpose, obviously, but it really works in the sense that when I had to come up with a list of characters that actually made me want to stop watching, that was her. Jesus, she's annoying. So I think that's a pretty good start for number 5.
That is a pretty good start for number 5. Like I said, it does remind me now of some show I did watch. The character had that exact same accent, and I was kind of like, I'm not watching this. I don't care. I'm not doing it. But yeah, no, I can't remember what it was. Sorry, so I can't even bring up her name. But yeah, that's a pretty bad one.
Yeah, pretty bad. So you're number 4.
My number 4 is actually Syndrome from The Incredibles. I don't know if you watched that. So that's the animated cartoon. I love animation because I actually studied it when I lived in Manchester, UK. And so that was the old time stuff with like paper and pencils. And oh my gosh, what they can do now with computers is amazing. But Syndrome annoys me because I like powerful villains with cold hearts and decisive actions. And he's just nothing. He's got a good backstory, but even up until the present day when he is trying to kill off superheroes, he's doing it because he's the whiny little kid who wants to be a superhero and just isn't good enough. And he's still not good enough, and he dies stupidly. And it's just, blah. It's just not, it's all mushy. It's not what I want in a villain. And I think when you have a really bad villain, that it ruins a lot of the story. You could have really fantastic characters, and if they're up against a squishy villain, you're like, what? You're wasting them. So I just found Syndrome just pathetic.
Okay, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know it, but it is important, and we have talked about over and over again the importance of having strong villains.
Oh yeah.
So it definitely destroys a story if there's just like this really both weak but annoying villain.
Oh yeah.
And I could say something about a villain in the last Star Wars movies, but I'm probably not going to go there because then somebody will jump on me and kill me.
Yeah, so do not touch Star Wars. It's sacred.
No, okay.
Let's go on to your number 4 then.
Okay, number 4. I have another clip prepared here.
Of course you do.
Of course, I have clips for all 5, of course, Autumn, because that's what it's going to bring home the victory.
Bonus points.
Yeah, that sort of actually cancels out your bonus point and gives it to me, I think. But
I don't think so. Let's hear this.
Okay, so in this scene, one of my favorite characters of the show has just been picked up by the character that I really don't like.
Oh.
So you're going to hear a male voice and a woman in this clip, and it's the woman that I don't like, okay? But I'll explain afterwards, so you can just listen to it. I don't think you can guess who this is, to be honest, but just have a listen and I'll explain.
Been walking for 3 days. Thank God you came along.
Pregúntale si no se dirige.
Where are you going?
Going home to America. New York.
New York. This is where we're going.
Do you have family there?
No. We need to find this man.
Maya, no.
Dr. Suresh.
Dr. Suresh. Do you know what series that is from?
No, I do not. It doesn't ring a bell at all.
No, it's from Heroes.
Is it?
Yeah.
And see, I don't know if I've watched that now that you say that. So
Okay.
why
Well,
don't
Heroes
you
is
like
actually
her?
well, it's actually a pretty good series. So in this
Okay.
scene, the male voice is Skylar, who is like a really like badass character, and I really like him. And he's just been picked up by this woman called Maya, and Maya is just like the opposite of Skylar. So, and the problem I have with her is that she always comes across as so incredibly helpless. And she's never able to sort of work out herself what she's supposed to do. So she always depends on the other characters to sort of take her hand and lead her down the path of wherever or whatever is going to happen. And of course, the same thing applies in our writing. You don't want to see characters that doesn't know how to think for themselves, because those characters are just so annoying.
They
And
are.
I really got quite worked up by this Maya character, to be honest, and she just ruined every single episode she was in. And unfortunately, in the later seasons, she's in there quite a lot.
Oh no!
It is so annoying.
And it's funny you say that, because a lot of the lists I saw, they listed a different character. Ginny Weasley was actually listed quite a lot for the exact same reasons. It's like she never does anything. Her like biggest fame is that she marries Harry Potter for whatever reason, and no one's like, she casts 2 spells in the entire show. She breaks into the Chamber of Secrets and they find her sleeping on the floor. I mean, she's just pathetic. And so, that is a huge reader no-no, to have a character that is just never manages to stand up on her or his own 2 feet.
Yeah, indeed. And it's so annoying to watch or read, for that matter. It's, I just don't like that. And I think Maya is this Maya character is the perfect example of what I don't want in characters.
That's a top number 2. So that's pretty, or number 4, I should say. All right.
Yeah, it was only number 4. I still have the 3 best ones left. So
wow,
I'm already sort of blowing you out of the water, and I only just started.
Oh, wow. So you think. All right, you ready for my number 3 then?
Yeah.
So this one I didn't even have any problem thinking of. It's a character I really don't like, and that is Bella Swan from the Twilight series.
Oh my god.
You agree then? So
I could have put her on. I did not put her on my list, but I could have.
Yes, I despised her. And I mean, not just the movies, I read the books, and I read the books purposefully because they were so popular, and I wanted to know why, what in the writing was so right. And I read the books despite Bella Swan because I absolutely hated her. She was just, I don't even know where to start, but she needed a big dose of like growing up really fast, being a lot less self-absorbed, stuff wishy-washy over Edward versus now I can't remember his name other than
the werewolf thing.
Jacob.
Jacob.
And what was worse is that for the books, I mean, the movie, you can almost put up with it because the characters, it's a movie, you're watching things, it's a little less internal. The books, it's written in first person, and so you were literally in her head for 3/4 of the novel, and it's just, or novels, I read the whole series. Oh, it's just, you feel icky. I'm sorry, I felt icky after reading her chapters. I was just, dunk me in an ocean so I can clean myself off. I did not like her at all.
No, and actually, saying that it is slightly strange to think about, because we talk a lot about the importance of making good characters and how do you make good characters and what makes them likable and how it's important and so on. And then when you think of something like Bella Swan and how massive a success that series has been with a main character that is not likable at all, that is a bit counterintuitive. I don't understand, actually.
Well, obviously, there's a lot of people who either relate to her or like the
maybe.
tropes of the series despite her, but I don't know. Her
Maybe
and
we're going to
her,
get a lot of listeners on our back here if we're just like, no, she's the
maybe.
best characters ever.
But if you think she is, why? Tell me what about her resonates with you, because admittedly, I was a tomboy. I have motorcycles. I played with matchboxes. I don't get the whole I've never been romantic, like oohing over someone my entire life, except maybe my husband. But I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get her at all. She makes me want to smack her upside the head and tell her to grow up and, go dig a ditch in Africa, and we'll talk later.
That is a good number 3, Autumn. I can agree with that one.
Yay!
Yes.
Point for me. All right. So
Yeah,
that's
that's a
yours.
point. That's okay. That's a good one.
Thank you.
Okay, number 3 here is even more annoying than Janice Lippmann from number 5. So this is a bit of a blast from the past. Okay. And you can probably recognize it because I think there's a good chance that you also, like me, watched this series growing up.
Okay.
Or at least I tried to watch it.
Okay.
Because back then we didn't have any streaming services, so you watched whatever was on TV.
Sure.
And yet, even though this was the only thing that was on, this character annoyed me so much that I would rather do nothing than watching more of this series.
Oh, gosh.
So I'm just going to play this little sound clip here, and I think you might be able to guess who it is.
I'll see.
Oh, I cannot believe we're in Paris. And would you look at this room? I think Miss Ellie had this wallpaper in South Fork.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. I can't take how loud and annoying her voice is. Can you recognize it?
I recognize it, and I cannot think of the show, but I do recognize it. I have seen it, and as soon as you tell me, I'll be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's the nanny show, right? It's Fran.
That's right. Oh,
she's so annoying.
Yeah.
But it's not only her nasal voice that makes this character really annoying. It's also that constant relationship building between her character and Mr. Sheffield that just sort of it goes up and down and blah 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 and round, and it's just getting on my nerves.
Yeah, it's like it's plotted off of a soap opera where it's like, do they, don't they, do they, don't they? It's just please make up your mind. Either love each other or hate each other. Don't do both.
It's so annoying.
I
really find that character annoying.
I'm also starting to think that you don't like that New York, New Jersey accent, but maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe, I don't know. I've never thought about that, but maybe. I don't know.
I say that because I know my husband, that is an accent. He's got a Boston Kennedy accent, and he says "cause" and stuff like that. So it's about the opposite of New York. They have a good rivalry with New York. Boston does. So he's pointed out that accent quite a lot. Yeah, he doesn't like it.
Okay.
All right. No, that's she's definitely an annoying one. All right, you ready for the next one? I don't know if you've
number 2
watched this series yet, but Sheldon Sampson, aka Utopia, in Jupiter's Legacy, which is a new Netflix one. So you don't watch a lot of superheroes ones, so I didn't think you'd watch this one.
No, because I don't like superhero movies.
This has a very good backstory, and I actually really enjoyed the series. But he is the archetypical character of he's just a bit too God-fearing, a bit too pro-USA democracy, loves, he's too perfect, he's too rigid, he's just too, this is the way things have to be, and this is democracy, and we're going to protect it, and we're going to allow people to make horrible choices and not take that away from them because they're allowed to make free choices, and it's just like, gag me. So bad. I've always joked I would be a supervillain, but I'd probably do something good and end up being one of the superheroes. But I just can't take that level of patriotic red, white, and blue, and I'm American, just no gray. They're so pure, and I like characters with flaws. I like characters with doubts. I like characters that question. I love clever characters, and when you're that rigid, you're not clever. You just see with blinders on. And I just don't like them. And there's a couple characters that I could have used for this one, like Jean Grey in X-Men is very similar. She's like way too goody two-shoes. Captain America, just no. And it seems like it's a superhero trope where you have the perfect one. I mean, his name, Utopia. It's just, no. I just can't do it. I want flaws. I want weaknesses. Not weaknesses that you're just so perfect and you're upset the rest of the world cannot match your perfection.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's so tough because we're talking so much about these very important characters or the importance of making good characters. And, and then we can come up with like a ton of these really, really annoying ones.
Yes. They're out there, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Your number 2.
Yeah. So this is... Well, this next one is one of those characters where I just couldn't wait for another character to kill him.
Sounds like my number 1. I wonder if we will have a match.
Yeah, he's a real little beep that is extremely sadistic.
Okay, this might be a match. Sounds like my number 1.
He's like one of the worst and also most unlikable characters that I can think of.
Okay, I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah, and I also found on the internet that Ranker, that internet service that sort of ranks different things, they actually did an online poll asking who the most hated character in TV history was, and this character was by far on the top of that list.
Ooh, all right.
So he's a spoiled brat that makes life miserable for everyone else, and why don't I just play the clip here, and then you can tell me who this is.
All right.
My mother wishes me to let Lord Eddard join the Night's Watch. Stripped of all titles and powers, he would serve the realm in permanent exile. And my lady Sansa has begged mercy for her father. But they've the soft hearts of women. So long as I am your king, treason shall never go unpunished. Sir Ilyn, bring me his head.
So you can hear who that is, right?
Yes, I can, because this one is my number 1. So
is
Jeffrey Baratheon, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because when you said
he's annoying.
Spoiled brats, makes everyone's life hell, yep, rooting for him to die. Oh, he could not die painfully and fast enough. Yeah.
No, but actually, very honest, and I'm being very honest here, right? It is very, very rarely where I have watched a series where I actually not like, oh, it would be nice if this character disappeared, or if sort of, but actually rooting for somebody to kill him. I can't remember almost that ever happening until this character showed up in Game of Thrones. Jesus Christ, he's annoying.
He is. And my husband said almost the exact same thing. He's like, he loves Game of Thrones, which is really cool because he doesn't watch a lot of fantasy with me. And except for that, he's like, once that was over, once Jeffrey was gone, he was good. And we almost started watching it again. He's just like, as long as we skip those episodes, he could not even take him knowing what was coming. And for me, I had to say that he's definitely the worst, but Viserys Targaryen and Ramsay were also 2 in the show where I was like, die. You want them to be horrible ends as fast or as slow as possible,
I agree, but there was, I agree, Ramsay was also somebody you rooted for him to die, but Ramsay was not annoying in the same way, I feel.
He was just ruthless.
Yeah, he was just ruthless, and he was not a nice character at all, and you certainly did not root for him whatsoever.
No.
But still, he was just not annoying in that same way. Whereas this character was, I still remember the episode when he finally died. He was just like, yes! It was like watching a football match or something, like, yeah! Finally!
I know, isn't it sad when you're rooting for, I think it was a character, it wasn't a real person, but rooting for their death, because
that's bad.
I give George R. Martin credit for making a character that you're like, oh, please die. Everyone in the world can get behind wanting this character to die. That is amazingly powerful. He, for a villain, a young villain, he just fantastically horrible. You want him to die.
Yeah.
So it was unlike some of the other examples, it's excellent writing because you really hate him. It was my number one. Your number two. I can't imagine what your number one is.
Oh, my number one is so bad.
Well, I'm going to let you, since that was my number one, we can skip to yours. And then if it isn't your number one, I have, like I said, a dishonorable mention.
Okay. All right, so my number one, and honestly, I knew right away when I made this list that this character had to be the number one.
Oh,
and he is worse than any of the other ones that I've mentioned.
Oh gosh, I can't imagine anything worse than Jeffrey.
Oh, just wait here. And I have to say as well that I love this universe. I love these movies, as do millions and millions of other people.
All right.
However, I am not the only one who find this character incredibly irritating.
Oh, let's hear it.
He was originally designed to give some funny laughs, but instead he is just so incredibly simple-minded and stupid that he becomes intolerable.
Oh,
so
geez.
Let me play this clip here for you.
Sounds good.
I'll try again. Maybe it didn't take. Okay, interesting.
Oh no!
Oh no. Let me fix it here. I can fix it really quick. I think.
Oh, Moy, I love you. You almost got us killed. Are you brainless? I speak. The ability to speak does not make you intelligent. Now get out of here. No, Mr. Stay. Mr. called Jar Jar Binks. Mr. your humble servant. No. Oh, Moy, I love you. You almost got us killed.
Now it just keeps playing. That's how annoying it is.
You can't stop it.
No.
Oh, and you're right.
Jar Jar Binks.
Yes, I saw Jar Jar Binks on so many lists as
my God.
Hated. Everything from his character, his idiocy, to the cultural appropriation of what they based it on. And yeah, people hate Jar Jar Binks with a passion. I
hate him with a passion as well.
I still think Jeffrey is worth.
He is just so incredibly annoying that he almost destroys, like, I love the Star Wars movies, but this character almost destroys those movies where he's in. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's incredibly painful. I think one person had one redeeming quality, saying at least your kids can probably laugh at him, where there's other characters like Jeffrey and others that are just like, no one laughs at them. They're just so bad or horrible that you're not giggling at all.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but Jar Jar is definitely up there. Like I said, I still think Jeffrey's worse, but yeah. All right, so you want to hear my dishonorable mention? And I'm actually surprised you didn't mention this one, because you stopped watching this series because you couldn't take this character.
Oh, which one have I not thought about that I should have thought about then?
Lucifer from the TV series.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true, yes. Yeah, he is really annoying. But
he is.
He didn't annoy me as much as these five did, but he is annoying.
He is annoying, and I did watch the whole series, and I they just released the final part of it, and it was worth watching. But even his character arc is amazing. He goes, like, for our enneagrams, he is at the bottom, and he goes all the way up to the top over the course of the series, which is amazing to watch. Little slip-ups where, he backslides a little bit. Fantastic writing that way, and that's why I enjoyed the series, and what he becomes is amazing. But there were times that I was just going, oh my God, I cannot take this level of arrogant stupidity, self-centeredness. Exactly it, those first few episodes were painful, but once you got more into the story, and once you got into the detective Chloe and what is going on there, and then I love the fact that Netflix did allow them to finish up the series and finish up the story arc, because the writers did a fantastic job of doing that and tying up all these loose ends. So the series itself was definitely worth watching, but there were times that I was just like, holy crap. They had him start at such a low point that if I was writing a book, I don't know if I'd want to have you take a big risk to start with a main character that is that much of a
Yeah.
But they did such a good job of pulling him all the way up to the character arc where he's at the absolute other end, and it's amazing.
Okay, yeah. I think this is a tough one to conclude on, Autumn, because there's a lot of pretty bad characters on these two lists.
There are. I think we have very good points on both sides. You had some really annoying characters, and I think my list with their very specifically, purposely genre-chosen niches was very well done. If I say so myself.
Yes. Yeah. At least you argued as well. Good for you argued well for your list as well. I mean, of course, some of them I have not watched, so I don't know.
Yes.
And same for me. Of course, some of my list you have not watched, so you also don't know.
No, I think we might have to leave this.
And then
one
we
up
had a
to
couple where we
listeners.
just agree.
Yes, I think we can say Jeffrey is one of the worst characters out there ever. But
yeah, he is. He is.
All right. Well, maybe I don't know. We have to have the listeners weigh in. Maybe we missed someone. Did we miss someone who's could be worse than these? I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I'm even though I started out by saying that I should win this one because I had audio clips prepared, which I do think I should have some point for.
You get a point for audio clips. I did not have time for audio clips.
And you got a point for being genre specific to fantasy, so that's pretty cool. And then we had a couple where I didn't know yours and you didn't know mine, and then we had a couple we agreed upon. So maybe actually from the beginning I would have been sad, as I said in the beginning, for not winning because I actually came more prepared than you did. But
you did.
On the other hand, you pulled some pretty good stuff out of your sleeves there. So
Bella!
Maybe. Yeah. Oh yeah, Bella. Yeah. So maybe we can make it a draw. I don't feel too bad about a draw.
Woohoo! That's pretty good for last minute homework. Ding ding ding. All right, I agree to a draw because that was a pretty much whipped up this morning list.
All right, but as you said, if some of you listeners can think of some really annoying characters that we forgot about, then please let us know. I would like to know what those are that we missed.
Or if you liked any of these characters, please tell us why, please.
Well, yeah. And we promise not to start arguing with you.
True.
We'll just say, okay, we accept your point of view, and that's it.
Yes, absolutely. I'm just curious, especially Bella. Why?
Especially Bella. All right, so next Monday we are back to the topic of writing craft. I always enjoy those too, and we are going to talk about how to maintain your story flowing despite all of life's challenges.
If you like what you just heard, there's a few things you can do to support the AmWritingFantasy podcast. Please tell a fellow author about the show and visit us at Apple Podcast and leave a rating and review. You can also join Autumn and Jesper on patreon.com/AmWritingFantasy. For as little as $1 a month, you'll get awesome rewards and keep the AmWritingFantasy podcast going. Stay safe out there and see you next Monday.